Chapter 8. Peloncito threatens Tigre. Although Tigre insisted on secrecy between the senior gang leaders about their discussion at Tommy's joint, word soon leaked out to the younger 20th Street members, very likely through Indio, who was present at the meeting. Indio's allegiance to the older homies in the gang had diminished lately due to the influence of his brother and fellow gang member, Psycho, a violent hothead with his own aspirations for clique leadership. In fact, word of the meeting spread all the way through the gang's international grapevine to the Cuidad Barrios prison in the municipality of San Miguel, El Salvador, to two big homies named Snoopy and Meow. Meow took exception to the fact that Tigre was restructuring the clique in San Francisco with himself as leader. He knew that Tigre had a skeleton in his closet that would be of serious concern for any MS-13 member who learned of it. Determined that Tigre's secret come to light in advance of any reorganization of 20th Street, Meow sent word to a uniquely ruthless gang member residing in San Francisco named Peloncito to press the issue. Angel Guevara, aka Peloncito, Spanish for handsome bald man, was a husky 26-year-old with menacing eyes and a grimace that made most people in his company feel uncomfortable. According to word on the street, Peloncito was co-founder and leader of the Candelaria clique of MS-13 in Custalacan, El Salvador. He was dispatched to San Francisco by the big homies to investigate the legitimacy of Tigre's new role as leader of 20th Street. Rumor among the gang, Diego told Santini, was that Peloncito was a devoted devil worshipper and a stone cold killer. He was also highly street savvy, having sold crack in the Tenderloin and Mission as far back as 1995 at the age of 15. After spending 4 years in a California Youth Authority facility for shooting at some pedestrians in the Mission, Peloncito was deported to El Salvador, where he earned his stripe as leader of the La Candelaria. Yeah, I know I fucked that up, man. You guys are lucky. My Spanish is terrible. Killing and maiming seemed to be what Peloncito lived for. That and the fear he instilled in others, even other gang members, whom he enjoyed regaling with detailed accounts of his bloody exploits on the street. He wanted them all to know he was a true killer among killers, most of whom didn't have the seemingly bottomless bloodlust Peloncito did. His girlfriend, a minor by the street name of Flaca, was also Peloncito's occasional partner in vicious attacks against rival gang members and gang enemies and strangers alike. At Tigre's request, Diego met Peloncito for the first time at a row of wooden benches in Mission Playground just after dusk on a chilly August night. The two exchanged small talk about gang life in their home countries, walking together to Jocelyn's Bakery, where they were picked up in a car by Tigre. Sitting in the front passenger seat, Peloncito immediately confronted Tigre about his presumed leadership position in the gang. "You ain't never been jumped in, homie," he accused, "have you? It was Tigre's dirty little secret. There weren't enough homies in San Francisco to jump me in when VENMO and me stood up to 20th Street, he insisted. "How can you be a leader when you ain't even been jumped in?" Peloncito shouted. "All the youngsters, they all got jumped in. How are they supposed to see you as a leader of the clica?" Hearing the heated exchange from the backseat of the car, Diego thought he understood now why Tigre wanted him to go along for the meeting with Peloncito. He appeared to fear Peloncito, and having Little Loco by his side, a hardened gangster from Honduras, might offer Tigre some reinforcement. "These dumbass kids don't listen to me," Tigre shouted. "Not since Memo got dropped. They think they know everything already." He complained he wasn't receiving enough guidance from senior gang members in Los Angeles and El Salvador. Peloncito accused Tigre of claiming he had support from the top gang leaders in El Salvador he didn't really have. He challenged Tigre to provide him names and phone numbers of big homies in El Salvador with whom he claimed to be in contact with. Tigre refused. When the argument finally ran out of steam, Tigre drove Peloncito and Diego back to Jocelyn's Bakery and dropped them off out front. Peloncito was still furious. It was clear to Diego he needed to be extremely wary of his murderous rage. If it ever got out Diego was a rat, there was no doubt in his mind Peloncito would relish the opportunity to whack him. Diego's main hope for continuing to escape detection as a rat stemmed from a lack of Hondurans in 20th Street who could easily check his credentials. Without good connections in his country, any investigation of his cover story was likely to hit a dead end. This was especially true since he was using an alias gang name, Little Loco, instead of Tramposo. Nevertheless, the possibility of Diego being found out was very real, and he knew Peloncito would be his likely executioner if his identity were ever revealed. Situated atop a hill at the watermost point of Land's End, Sutro Park offers spectacular views of the Pacific Ocean. On the leeward side of the park, well-manicured multi-million-dollar homes formed a quiet, prosperous neighborhood. When the waves of the Pacific were breaking the right way, visitors standing on the park's high bluff overlooking the sea could watch the wetsuit-wearing surfers catching rides far down below. Santini and his partner John got to the park early, before the 20th Street members started arriving. As cover, the two HSI agents brought a cooler full of beers and sat with them on a small merry-go-round, blending in with park visitors who were taking strolls and enjoying the panoramic views. As the sun set over the ocean, the flow of 20th Street members into the park accelerated. It suddenly dawned on Santini that he and his partner were now badly outnumbered. There were well over 30 gang members present now. Who knew what kind of craziness they might get into, or what kind of firepower they might have brought with them? With darkness descending, the two agents repositioned to a small white pagoda from which they could observe the meeting through a high-powered night vision scope. They watched as the gang huddled together in a big circle at the edge of a bluff overlooking Ocean Beach, with Diego in their midst. In the center stood Tigre, who appeared to have shaken off the jitters from his encounter earlier in the day with Peloncito. "Well, let's take roll call first," Tigre said, "and call your names out slowly so I can write them down." The gang members called out, "Catracho, Droopy, Fantasma." One by one, they called out their street names for the official record of attendance. "Okay, you have to consider one thing," Tigre said once the sound-off was completed. "If you want me to continue doing this thing, well, you have to pay attention." He paused and told the gang members to gather into a tighter circle so he could talk softer and not be overheard by anyone. "If I'm going to be at the front of this clica, then I need for all of you to back me up. If someone doesn't want me to, now is the time to speak out. Because if not, then how am I going to read you some rules that we're going to follow?" He stepped and looked around the gang intensely. No one said anything, because from here on out, as far as the meetings go and what the rules are, we're going to have to respect them. He looked down at the sheet of paper in his hand and started reading. Rule number 1, La Mara has no boss. La Mara, what it is, the entire name of La Mara. There is no one person in particular that runs this show. Number 2, zero rock and crystal or heavy drugs aside from weed or small things like that. You know, these things are not tolerated. Rule number 3, no rapes or gang rapes. We have to respect women. Number 4, no rats. Whoever rats us out, the consequence to him is death. None of that can exist here with us. One person talking about some small things here and there, that has a big effect on all of us. And our lives are in danger in all of this. So that doesn't go. Number 5, no talking to the cops. Remember, the cops are two-faced. If they catch someone and want to talk to them, then of course, they're going to try to make him their friend. 6, respect among all homeboys. All of us have to respect. Remember that if you have your family, your mother, your father, your siblings, you respect them. The same goes for La Mara. We have to respect each other. We have to love each other like a family. Because if we don't have a family at home, La Mara is who guides us. Number 7, respect the lives of civilians. The majority of us want to mess with anybody when we're a little messed up with drugs or alcohol. La Mara has to respect the people that are not involved in any of our thing. Number 8, respect the neighborhood leaders. We need to respect the men that run their own deals. Let's respect everybody, not just from La Mara here, but any other clicas that are affiliated with La Mara, especially here in San Francisco, since we have 2 more, which are the 19th and the 11th. They are both Sureños, and yeah, they're fine with us. We need to respect each other. Tigre was finished reading the rules, and Marvin Cacomo, aka Psycho, was the first to chime in. All this shit is cool, man, Psycho said. The only thing is that we are all here, but it's not only about being at meetings, and that's all. Psycho reminded his homies that work for the gang essentially meant attacking rivals, preferably killing them. Their primary mission always was to claim and protect their territory. Okay, you're right, Tigre said. It's not just about coming and showing your face here, and that's it. Like, I've done my duty. As for me, you won't hear me telling you right now, hey, you have to do this and that. It can't be. It's voluntary. But each of us knows what we need to do. Remember, the enemy is abundant, and no other way. We have to reduce it. Diego sensed that Tigre's momentum with the homies was flagging. Word, homie, Diego said. I agree with you. I agree with the word you just laid down. I think the best thing for us to do is to stick to the rules. That is very useful to everyone here, so we can have a better understanding of how things are in the hood. As far as the rules go, well, it's right there. It's clear. If we break a rule, we'll have to face the consequences. If we break a death rule, then it's death. Concealed behind the pagoda, Santini and his partner took turns with the night vision gear, hoping the wire Diego was wearing picked up the gang's conversation. All of us here are buried with 2 letters. Tigre picked up. All of us here are burned with 2 letters. Tigre picked back up. We can't be changing flags or nothing like that. We have been unorganized for a long time, and it has to stop now. Trusha, homies, he called out. His speech was done. The meeting broke up, and gang members began forming into smaller groups, drinking, smoking weed, bantering, and juggling soccer balls in the air with their feet. To avoid bumping into any of the homies exiting the park, Santini and his partner quickly packed their gear and hurried away to their car. The agents were excited. There was an entire roll call of the gang, and the leader discussed organizational rules and discipline. If the listening device worked, they had recorded an entire meeting of around 30 members of 20th Street discussing issues that met several criteria of a racketeering case. Santini suggested to his partner John that they call it a night and go drink beers that had been chilling in the cooler.